celebrating the end of Mercury retrograde, because we're not there yet, but we're getting closer. So the end is in sight, people, and I'm so glad. And I'm just so glad that you're able to join me here on Power Talk. This is our last show for 2017. So really glad to have you here, and I've got a good show for you today. I've got a repeat interview with Olympia LaPointe. She did a great interview with us about her newest book, which is Answers Unleashed, which talks about her brain power unleashing system. And that was such a great interview, and we kind of got off on a tangent talking about dreams. And so I've invited Olympia back to talk to us about dreams today. So the website for that book is answersunleashed.com, and Olympia's website is Olympia LaPointe, OLYMPIALEPOINT.com. Welcome, Olympia.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me back on your show.
Well, I'm fantastic, and I'm glad that you're back. You know, and because we got off on a tangent talking about dreams, which is one of my favorite topics. And that was so interesting. I wanted you to come back because you seem to know an awful lot about dreams. So do tell.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. In my newest book, Answered Unleashed, The Science of Unleashing Your Brain Power, I talk about the power of dreams. And it is amazing. When we connect our brain, and that's what the self-help book is about, is learning the ways to connect our brain so we actually can not only find answers in our life with the Answers Unleashed, but we also enhance our intuition. And part of our intuition is the ability to dream. During the 7th and 8th hour of our sleep, we actually have REM sleep. This is rapid eye movement sleep. And that is actually the time where your brain recalibrates itself and it changes short-term memory into long-term memory, and it frees up space. It's kind of like if you think about your computer, how you condense space and you compile files together so you free up disk space on your hard drive. Well, it's the same way in your brain, but your brain does this through the 7th and 8th hour of sleep. During this time period also, you have dreams. Now, some people have different types of dreams, and that's what we're going to talk about today, and I'm so excited to share this. We have different types of dreams that we have. Some people remember your dreams, and some people do not. The role of a dream in your brain is to recalibrate your brain so it allows your brain to take short-term memory, convert it to long-term, and make you more aware of your conscious environment and your settings so you become awake during your waking hours. There's a couple different types of dreams that you have. Most people may not remember their dream, and that's fine because that actually goes into your subconscious. And your subconscious brain actually is involved with how you see the world. But if you do remember your dream, there's different types of dreams. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah. And I remember, probably not all of my dreams, but I remember dreams every night. Very rarely does a night pass that I don't remember at least one, if not several. So, yeah. And I love what you said about the 7th and 8th hour making a difference, because last night, between hour 7 and hour 8, and I was kind of awake a lot during the night last night. So, and I would look at the clock because I have a clock that projects up on my ceiling. My dear cousin made her transition, and I woke from a dream that I don't remember. I woke because I consciously felt her holding my hand. I mean, I knew that's what it was, and that was during that time frame.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
Oh, thank you. She was a conscious transitioner. She had terminal cancer, and she moved through this process very consciously. It was very beautiful. And we'll be celebrating her life on Saturday of this week. But yeah, I've been spending a lot of time with her over the last 2 months. And
that's natural. When people dream, that's quite natural. There's different types of dreams. So you've uncovered one of them.
Okay.
The first type of dream is actually communicating with a loved one on the other side. Typically, When we have dreams of loved ones, this role is simply to enjoy their visit. It's nothing to be scared of, it's nothing to
Right.
be shocked about. Uh, Typically, when we have dreams, it's to gain information that we are not consciously aware of. So, if people who have passed on, if it be a loved one, a cousin, or a mother, or a father, or a child, this is for you to have communication and find ways to be able to keep that bond alive. Despite there being, it's not like a time zone difference, but it's like a world zone difference.
Yeah.
It's actually to keep that alive, and that actually is a way that people communicate. The second type of dream that people have are nightmares. Now, these nightmares are geared towards releasing brain brink from the brain. And if you follow my work, you know what brain brink is. Brain brink is a type of, it's kind of like a dark tar-like glue mass that happens in the brain that sticks the brain together in the middle of trauma or stress. So whenever we experience trauma or stress, the brain will literally glue itself together to keep it together, but it also separates. That's like a puzzle piece. When we go through stress, the brain separates itself, but it also tries to keep it together by creating this like glue-like mass that happens in the brain. And if we do not alleviate these fears consciously, this dark mass sticks the brain together. And Dr. Caroline Leaf, who's a neuroscientist, was able to come up with this theory at first. And Dr. Ann McKee, a neuropathologist, was able to find this in the CTE brain scans disease that was happening in individual NFL players that had concussions. So this is actually a real thing. So when you actually dream and you go to sleep, when you have a nightmare, the process of a nightmare is to literally take the fear out of your unconscious mind and bring it to your conscious mind so you can deal with it. And when it's brought into your conscious mind so you can deal with it, that's when your brain releases the brain brink, kind of like, it's like the glue remover.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually allows your brain to reshape. So nightmares are actually a good thing. And it's people are like, what? And nightmares are actually a good thing because it allows you to process your fears and make you aware of them so you can start addressing them in real life so you can remove that brain brink.
Let me ask you a
The next
question
type of
about that.
dream people have is dream. Yeah.
I want to ask you a question about that before you go on, because to me, the definition of a nightmare is a little bit nebulous. I have dreams that are kind of like nightmares, but they're not scary dreams. In my dreams, sometimes I get caught up in this loop of not being able to find the gate at the airport, not being able to find the right floor on the elevator, that kind of thing. And to me, that feels like a nightmare. Because it doesn't resolve itself in the dream. It's just like keeps doing and doing and doing. Is that really a nightmare?
It's if it depends on how you interpret it.
Okay.
If that is scary for you to not be able to get somewhere, then yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's a nightmare.
Okay.
If it is one of those dreams where it goes round and round and round, and you're like frustrated and you're like in this loop, it's not necessarily a nightmare, but it's telling you something. It's a communication tool.
Okay.
If, like, say, for example, if you're in the airport and you tell me again what's happening in the airport. Like, let's use your dream as an example.
Okay. So I was going to a connecting flight, and I got off of the plane at one gate, and then I went to go to find the other gate where my connection home was. And I never could find that gate. I couldn't find anybody to ask, where do I get the flight to XYZ and that. And I was just running and thinking, oh my God, I'm going to miss the flight, that kind of thing.
Well, that's actually a very common dream. And that is the fear of not being able to be connected to your life purpose. When you have a dream like that, for example, when you were trying to look at what was happening and you got to one destination, but you didn't necessarily have the help to be able to get you to the next part. So this connecting flight to bring you back home, that type of like uneasy feeling was your real life feeling of uneasiness of being able to, what's the next step? What do I do next from here that will allow me to get closer to what it is my life purpose is supposed to be? And that's
that
actually
is so
a
on
healthy
target.
dream. That dream.
That is so
Yeah,
on target. That's what I've
that
been
healthy
focused
dream.
on. Yeah.
And it means, yeah. And it means that there's people that you will find to be able to guide you to the next step. And so when you are in that dream, or if you have that dream again, the conscious thing for you to become aware of is that you have the ability in your dream to actually shift it while you're in the dream or while you wake up. If you are consciously aware of like, okay, I'm trying to find people who will help me move on to the next role in my life. In the dream, if you have that dream again, you can remember the real life conversation and think, all right, who are the people here who can help me? So you have the dream focused on where it is that the people who can help you. And that then mirrors itself in real life for you to find the people in real life to guide you to the next place.
Cool.
So that's actually a common dream, and that's a good dream. And it feels like a nightmare because you don't have an answer. Yeah. Typically, dreams are for us not to necessarily know what the answer is, but it's for us to understand how we are viewing a particular situation. There was this one client that came through that had a dream that she had, her mother was next to fireworks, and her mother lit on fire and was running around going, put me out, put me out. And that was a nightmare for her. But in reality, the dream was telling her that she is extinguishing the mother inside of her that takes care of her during stressful situations. So her mother came to her in a dream to show her the importance of mothering herself. When we have dreams, that has nothing to do with the people that we see in the dream. Typically, 99% of the times it has nothing to do with the people that we see in the dream, because the people represent an aspect of ourselves that we are needing to understand and be aware of. Yeah.
Got it.
This is so much fun.
So, and what is the fourth type?
Dreams are great.
The fourth type.
The fourth type is a premonition type of dream. Sometimes things actually do come true. There was one time in my own personal experience there's many times in my personal experience that things have come true in my dream, and that's a natural way that the brain works. We naturally have the ability to see things that are about to happen, see things that are happening right now that we're unaware of, and see things that's happened in the past that we may not be consciously knowledgeable about. And that is a natural process of the brain, the three-sided brain that I call the tree of brain in my book. The three-sided brain, the faith sector, is the third side of the brain that connects the past, present, and future independent of time and space. And that's what Einstein was talking about. So when we experience things or we see things in the dream are about to happen, sometimes they do happen or sometimes they don't. We are not in control of things happening. Even though it feels like we are, the only thing we have control over is our own thoughts and our own actions. Everything else is fair game, and that's the process of chaos in life. Things happen that we have no control over. But we do have control over our thoughts. So if you see something really terrible happening in a dream, there's usually a chain of events or steps that happen sequentially that gets you up to that particular point. Like, for example, if someone has a horrible nightmare that someone dropped a knife and their toe was sliced off, right? That would be like a horrible nightmare.
Yeah.
So what you would do is look at what led up to that in the dream. Was the knife on the edge of the counter where was it pushed all the way back? Was there carelessness, or was there inattention or not being aware of the person who had the knife fall on them? So what was this particular aspect of the dream, and what were the sequence of events that led up to that? And so if you're worried about a dream actually coming to pass, that's not a good thing. Pray for it. You literally can pray for it, like putting good intentions forward for the steps that you see happening in the dream. Like if the knife is too close to the edge of the cutting board, what you could do is focus back on the dream and think, all right, for every single type of situation that happens in my life or people's lives in the future, I ask that they will be conscious, be aware of their surroundings. That's like number one. So that would prevent the person from not being aware and allowing that to happen on their foot. And then go back another step in the dream, like, okay, I saw the knife being too close to the edge of the counter. So what else can you do? You can pray or put good intentions to the universe that, all right, everything that would cause damage or harm would be removed far away from someone, including
Yeah.
myself. And you put your focus on that. When you have a dream like that, sometimes, well, mainly, it's for you to look at the sequence of events that leads up to something in which you don't want to happen. And you go back in time and look at those sequence events and think for the exact opposite, so you can focus on what would be beneficial for every single person involved in your dream and outside of it.
So this is a reason I think that's really important for us to A, pay attention to our dreams, and B, write them down while they're still really clear as soon as you wake up. Because the longer you take, the less of it you remember.
Yes. And so for the example, if you are having dreams a lot and you're trying to make sense of it, the first thing I would recommend that you do is go to just a journal store, a bookstore, something that you can write down your dreams on. If you don't even have time for that, get a stack of paper, staple it, put it next to your bed, grab a pen, put a journal and a pen next to your bed. As soon as you wake up, and when you've had a dream like that, write it down. As soon as you get it out of your system, literally by writing it down, you create more free brain space, which allows you to process things and become more aware in your waking hours, so you can actually make decisions. As long as you keep it in your head and not write it down, you're going to be preoccupied with that and not fully aware in your waking hours. And the second thing is, when you have a dream, write down whatever message that comes to you. What do you feel or think or see? What was the first gut reaction that came to you? What was the message? If you had to think that God had the ability to communicate with you and share a message of loving and support, so you can always stay protected and healthy and wise, what do you think that message was? Write down whatever comes to you. Write down that, and chances are it's more than likely the right message. So for example, for your cousin that came to you and transitioned over, she had a message for you. Whatever message that is, sometimes that's communicated not through like words where people are like talking, but it's communicated through telepathy. And telepathy is the ability to read thoughts with a person that is next to you. So that person will have thoughts, even though he or she may not say something, they will do something to communicate a thought, or they may look to communicate a thought. And often in dreams, this happens if you do not hear sound. So if your cousin came to you in the dream and transitioned over, she was communicating to you about the transitioning process. More than likely, she was saying that, do you know what? I am free.
She also was saying thank you.
Forward.
She was telling me thank you. I got that so clear. So yeah.
That is amazing. And it's amazing that we should have this episode today of all days.
I know. So, I was thinking about that this morning.
Yeah. So with that, is when people pass over, typically they have messages. Everyone that typically passes over and comes back has been granted the ability to come back, and that's very important for you to know. If people pass over and they are not in a good place, they don't have the ability to come back.
Yeah,
that's the main thing. The people that pass over are and who are with God and who have the ability for be at peace. They have the ability to come back and forth at any time to communicate healthy messages that allow us to move forward in our own life. So whenever you have a dream about anyone that has passed over, that's a good thing, because they wouldn't be able to come back to you otherwise.
Fantastic. Well, this has been great, and we have run out of time for today. So viewers, be sure and get a copy of Olympia's book. If you didn't after the first time I interviewed her, today's your great reminder. The book is called Answers Unleashed. And thank you so much, Olympia. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and I look forward to talking with you in the new year. And viewers,
this is great. I have so enjoyed our episode.
Me too. And viewers, also remember, we're not going to be broadcasting now until the 8th of January. So we're taking the holidays off, and our producer's going on a cruise. So we're happy for her on that one too. So I will see you guys again on January the 8th. And until then, happy holidays and much love. And may all your holidays be right. Love you all. Bye-bye.